Although this woman became a musical icon in 1974 when she composed the iconic theme song for the breakthrough comedy show Good Times, she had already established herself as a talented gospel and soul singer for a considerable amount of time prior to that. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Blinky. Now, before we start, if you guys would love to support me further, then I highly suggest you become a member of the channel. For exclusive videos, be sure to get that family tier, as I will be releasing videos just for you. Let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Sandra Williams on May 21st, 1944 in Oakland, California. She's a daughter of a pastor and has participated in church choirs since she was 6 years old. She began conducting choirs on her own when she was 9. Her childhood nickname was Blink Blink, as it stems for her habit of blinking her eyes often. Later in high school, the name evolved to Blinky. In 1959, at the age of 14, she founded the Cogics, which was an incredibly talented teenage group of gospel performers. They feature a young Andre Crouch, his twin sister Sandra Crouch, Edna Wright, and 3 other future Motowners, Gloria Jones, Frankie Carl, and organist Billy Preston. In 1964, the group released an album titled It's a Blessing. The most notable songs for this album included Since I Found Him, Since I Found Him, Made My Life, the self-titled song on which Williams sings lead and demonstrated her already mature, strong, and earthly voice. Around this time, still known professionally by her real name, she released her debut solo song titled He Got the Whole World in His Hands, which was backed by Heartache. Now, these 2 singles was released on VJ Records in 1964. In 1967, Atlantic Records released her debut album titled Hark the Voice. Now, this album's most prominent hits was He Got the Whole World in His Hands, the self-titled song, God Bless the Child, and Heartaches. When she made the switch to secular music, she drew the attention of Temptations members Paul Williams and Eddie Kendricks while she was playing at Los Angeles celebrity disco hangout Mavis Flat. They introduced her to their manager, Motown executive Shelly Berger, which led to her signing a deal with the label. Motown took her nickname and started billing her as Blinky. She began traveling frequently as an opening act for the Temptations, which would last for 2 years. During her first several months at Motown, she worked with producer Hal Davis. She relocated to Detroit where Motown paired her with Ashford and Simpson to produce her. Ashford and Simpson's debut song with Blinky was a song, I Wouldn't Change the Man He Is, which was a dramatic blues tango ballad that was originally written for Valerie Simpson.
And when I mood hits him, I know when to.
Nick Ashford stated, "We needed a song that would stretch her vocal cords because we knew she had a lot of depth to her. She's always going to dig deep, you know?" Released on Motown in November of 1968, this brilliant single got a fair amount of radio play, but it never cracked the top 100, peaking at number 128 on the pop charts. Motown revived the Motown Review for an 8-day performance at Detroit Fox Theater throughout the Christmas and New Year holiday season. Blinky performed alongside the Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips, and Stevie Wonder promoting her debut song. The excitement around Blinky and Motown's prompt quality control chief, Billie Jean Brown, to consider teaming her for duets with Edwin Starr, who was fresh off his first major hit, 25 Miles. She co-produced with Frank Wilson and other Motown producers, and they recorded enough songs for an album in the spring of 1969. Motown released Oh How Happy, backed by Ooh Baby Baby, as a Blinky and Edwin Starr single on the Gordy label.
You make mistakes too.
In mid-1969, Motown issued a live album of the December Motown Review concerts, included Blinky, who was featured on 2 songs, I Can't Turn You Loose and I Wouldn't Change the Man He Is. Edwin Starr and Blinky's debut album, Just We Two, was released on Gordy's label in October of 1969. That same year, she met Sammy Davis Jr. in a Los Angeles recording studio when audio from her recording session mistakenly diverted into his headphones. Impressed by her vocals, he quickly invited her to tour with him as his opening act. He had a major impact on her career. He began teaching her and serving as a co-manager alongside Shelley Berger, and they performed together for several years. She appeared with Davis at top clubs and theaters throughout the country and owned a national syndicated TV show, The Mike Daly Show. Motown reunited Ashford Simpson with Blinky for her upcoming solo hit. However, the scheduled recording was canceled. Motown published a compilation titled Rock Gospel in 1971, which included tunes by the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, Gladys Knight and the Pips, and as well as a new Blinky rendition of God Bless the Child. Blinky continued to record solo songs for Motown, but no albums was issued. There was no further singles issued until 1972, when the slow but rowdy shuffle blues rendition of Money, That's What I Want appeared on the Mo West label in June of 1972.
That's what I want. Yes, it is.
The record was produced by Gil Askey, who also oversaw the equally superb B-side, which was a stunning bluesy remake of the Jerry Butler and the Impression classic For Your Precious Love, which never hit the charts. In June of 1972, Blinky rejoined Andre Crouch, singing background vocals with Crouch's sister Sandra for his appearance at a 5-day evangelist conference at a concert in Dallas. Blinky sang the early blues song, Ain't Nobody Business If I Do, as part of Motown's historic foray into cinema, with the Billie Holiday movie Lady Sings the Blues starring Diana Ross. While Blinky's voice was included into the film, she does not make an appearance in it. However, her recording of the song has an instant impression on the audience. She is the only non-Ross female voice that's featured on the album soundtrack. However, the label did decide to release Blinky's entire rendition of the song as a single in 1973, and it received positive radio exposure, but it did not chart.
If my man ain't got no money.
She worked with composer and producer Clay McMurray on her final Motown hit, Get the Tango Out of Your Lifeline, which was released in 1973. The label on this slow, soft track notes that it is from Blinky's forthcoming album that was entitled Softly, which was another album that got shelved. She continued to provide backup vocals on 3 tracks from John Lee Hooker's 1973 album Born in Mississippi, Raised in Tennessee. When Norman Lear produced the television series Good Times, the theme song featured Blinky and Jim Gilstrap as well as a gospel choir. The famous weekly sitcom about a poor working class African American family living in a Chicago housing projects and dealing with real world challenges aired for 6 seasons, making Blinky's voice well known in homes. With plenty of recordings, but nothing really published, Blinky left Motown in 1974 at the request of Quincy Jones, for who she began to open up for. She signed with Reprise Records, and unfortunately her debut record with the label, Walk With Me Jesus, failed to chart. Over the next decade, Blinky became active in the choir robe industry, shifting away from the industry. In 1984, Gloria Jones, Billy Preston, and Frankie Carl reunited with Blinky for a gospel reunited album called The Cogics. Blinky is one of several former Motown musicians that recorded for Ian Levine's Motor City Records in the late 80s and early 90s. While she was asked by music historian Bill Dow for his 2001 book, Motown: The Golden Years, on why her career at Motown never blossomed, Blinky stated, "Your guess is as good as mine. I was just getting hot. Diana was leaving the Supremes, David Ruffin had left the Temps, there was a lot of breakups. Gladys needed a hit, Diana needed a hit, and I sort of got tossed to the side." Slowly, some of Blinky's unreleased Motown recordings began to emerge. In 2004, her funky version of the Marvelettes, The Hunters Gets Captured by the Game, was released on Universal Music UK compilation album titled Motown Sings, Motown Treasures. On the 2005 Universal Music UK compilation album, A Syllabuful of Motown Volume 2, Blinky's rendition of Fontella Bass' Rescue Me saw daylight. Her brilliance showed up twice on the 2007 Universal Music UK compilation album, Volume 3. First is a mysteriously neglected leftover track for her 1969 Edwin Starr duet sessions, Never Give You Up. The second was her energetic cover of Marvin Gaye's Can I Get a Witness. On a Halloween night in 2009, Blinky and Sharon Jones provided backup vocals for the rock group Ish. The 2010 Universal Music UK compilation album, Volume 4, includes Blinky singing It's Gonna Be Always, which was originally recorded in the spring of 1969. In 2018, Universal Music Group released 7 previously unheard Blinky recordings that was originally recorded in 1968 on digital platforms. Signing to Motown may have seemed like a dream come true for Blinky Williams. However, it ended up being a bit of a headache, especially given the uneven ratio between the quantity of songs that she produced and what Gordy deemed as appropriate for publication. However, her voice will remain memorable since many generations grew up hearing and singing along to that classic theme song of Good Times. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song by Blinky Williams?